Welcome back to Champion Your Life with me, Leighanne Champion, the podcast where we think through, break down, and process our lives together. Today, I want to delve into the art of emotional balance, a concept I've been trying to embrace wholeheartedly in my own life. It involves consciously choosing our emotions and understanding, again, that feeling bad is just part of the human experience. But the piece that I want you to learn today is accepting that the full spectrum of emotions is crucial. So our thoughts create our feelings, and resisting the natural ebb and flow of emotions will hinder our personal growth. So what do? We must embrace the discomfort to evolve and pursue our dreams courageously. Deliberately navigating our emotional landscape, it's when we recognize that God has really given us a complete range of emotions for our journey. It's about feeling the full human experience, not just chasing joy. So 3 categories of emotions or feelings that guide us is something that I want to show you first. The first one is wanted feelings. Those are the ones we choose because we are aware and want to have a balance as human beings. So I want you to ask yourself, what are the feelings that you want to experience in the world? What emotions do you want to have in your feelings repertoire, if you will, to be able to feel and have that full human experience? The second is unwanted feelings. I guess you can guess what those are, but those are the ones that we wouldn't really necessarily pick if we were given a choice, but we actually need to allow them in. We really need to stop resisting them. And then thirdly is indulgent feelings. Those are the ones we need to pretty much eliminate. We don't want to resist them, but we want to recognize them when they're happening to us, and we really don't want to full-time indulge in them. So first, I just want you to play with me for a moment and imagine that you are attending a dinner party where emotions are being served on a platter instead of hors d'oeuvres. Feelings, I would ask you as I passed around the platter, which feelings and emotions would you like to choose today? It really is a very important visualization for you to grasp because this is basically the power that we all have in our lives. Consider the emotions and our feelings that you want in your repertoire. And what I really want you to do is try to avoid the illusion of wanting to be happy all the time. Instead, I want you to focus on emotions that serve the balance between positive and negative. So what are the feelings that you want to experience in the world? Now, most of us think, well, come on, Leighanne, I'd only pick all the good and joyful ones. But then I'm going to challenge you. You'd kind of be a strange person because you'd be happy during sad moments. Can you see how this doesn't make any sense? So I really want you to think about this consciously. Let's take sadness, for instance. I think the feeling of sadness is really an important one that I would want in my repertoire. And I want to also distinguish right now for you from self-pity or pity. And the reason I say that is because self-pity is sadness towards yourself, feeling sorry for yourself, right? For terms of better words, right? That's very different than the emotion of sadness when it's appropriate and usable. For me, I know that I would choose sadness. I recently just lost my mom, and the emotion of sadness served me very well during my grieving. My point is that I think most of us would pick sadness and would put it on our platters as an emotion that we would want to experience as humans. Most of us want to feel sad when sad things happen, right? I learned how sacred my tears really were during that time. Again, what emotions do you want to have in your repertoire to be able to fully feel the full human experience? The next one I was thinking about was anger. That's one of those emotions that I would choose for sure, but I would have to make sure that I was using it in a really smart way, a usable, servable way, not in a reactive, compulsive manner, right? Here's a good one: confusion. Confusion is one of those more indulgent emotions. It's an emotion that really isn't useful. And people might say, well, what if you're just confused? As if confusion is something that just happens to you. Let me clarify here. Confusion is not something that happens. It really is a choice. When you say, I don't understand this, I don't know what to do, I don't know the next step, in that moment, you're deciding to experience confusion. Look, many of us indulge in this emotion thinking that it's useful. However, it isn't. It usually just stalls us out. And you can replace it with a better thought like, oh, I'm going to figure this out. I'm beginning to understand this. I'm beginning to see clearer. And this shift is really crucial because confusion, as you can see by my explanation, doesn't really lead to clarity. It really just kind of keeps us stuck. It's not an emotion to indulge or include on our platter. Here's another: elation. I personally would totally grab that one off the tray. How about you? I think that's a super fun one. Hurt. Isn't hurt a good one? I think we have to have that as an emotion, right? And then we would have to make sure that it's really useful. How would you use it? Would you use it in a way to try to control all the people in your world or blame other people and say, hey, you hurt my feelings? Or would you use it in a way to really manage your mind? How about aggravated? Yes or no? Exuberant? Yes or no? Would you include that? I think I would include that one for sure. Heartbroken? Yes or no? Heartbroken I would take. Sometimes you just really need a really good heartbreak. Disgusted? That's an interesting one, right? Do you want to have the ability to think things are disgusting and to feel disgusted? I do. I think so. Some things are just disgusting. So I believe this is a really powerful exercise to go through and really decide on purpose, like which emotions are you going to feel on purpose and how are you going to balance them out? And I want you to be willing to add new emotions, practice new emotions, and include new emotions in your life. Maybe add some emotions to the negative side that you wouldn't have typically chosen, and or add some to the positive side that you're willing to try out. When we do this, we learn to establish some authority over them. I hope you can see how this exercise empowers you to establish authority in your life. When we can recognize that many emotions we choose are not inherent in us, but perhaps we learn responses from when we were young, we can change them. That will help us to shape a much more intentional and fulfilling life. Indulgent emotions that pretend to be integral to our story really are not as essential as we once believed. Truly, many of these emotions really hinder us from being our very best selves. Procrastination? Who wants to live in that? Worry? Well, worry pretends to be necessary. And fear? Well, fear is a dream stealer for sure. So let's not indulge in these emotions for too long. Deal? Here's to a beautiful and more intentional 2024. And here's to a life colored by conscious choices and authentic emotions. You've been listening to Champion Your Life, reminding you right now that you only have this one precious life. Let's decide to live it to its fullest. Godspeed.